have you joining us here for the 2012 edition of the Interbike International Trade Show. This is Good Morning Interbike. We're here at 9:30 Pacific Time today, Wednesday, but on Thursday and Friday we'll be here at 8:30 a.m. Pacific Time, bringing you interviews with some of the movers and shakers from the world of cycling and bicycles, because this is where it's all happening. And we've got the guy with us today, Managing Director of Interbike, Pat Hoos. Welcome to Good Morning Interbike.
Well, thank you. It's been a hectic morning, but I'm ready.
I'm sure it has. Well, welcome. Let's just talk a little bit in general about the show, how things are going. Last time we were here, it was an anniversary last year.
Yes, indeed.
And so now we've moved into a new decade for Interbike. What's new this year? What's different? How has the show changed? Is it larger this year?
No, it's a great question. And we've actually seen our largest trade show this year, which
that's great.
I feel really good about. We measure everything in the trade show world based on net square feet, and we went from 298,000 net square feet last year to over 317,000 net square feet. So wow. In trade show world, that's a significant increase. And it's all displayed down. A lot of it is down on our street level, where there is just a ton of new companies, people wanting to connect with our audience. So it's great.
The trade show business, a lot of people talk these days because of the internet and social media. A lot of people talk about, and they say, well, you know, whether it's print media or whether it's a trade show, these are industries that are in trouble. But clearly, for Interbike, thankfully, knocking on wood, that's not the case. What do you attribute that to?
Well, we're fortunate to be in an industry that's quite healthy. When economic downturns happen, the cycling industry always seems to be very resilient, and we're in that situation today. But also trade shows, they'll always have a place, in my opinion, if there's many suppliers and there's many buyers. And that's what we have in the bicycle industry, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. What happens with a lot of trade shows is if there's huge consolidation, where you've got 5 premier brands, if you will, and a handful of big retailers, like the sporting goods business. Yeah. It was Nike, Reebok, and Adidas, and they all looked at each other and said, what are we doing? Yeah. We're spending millions of dollars to talk to the same 6 or 7 customers. That's where you get into trouble. The bike business, we don't have that.
What's interesting, though, is we do have some consolidation in the industry. I mean, for instance, Durrell just announced that they bought Guru, a small boutique brand, and yet they've sort of licensed back the manufacturing back to the original guys. So we've got the consolidation, but at the same time, one of the things that's great about the bike business are the small guys. The guys who just have the spark of an idea and say, what if we can build this? And I think those are a lot of people you're talking about.
No question.
On the street level, right? In the lab. Tell everybody what the lab is all about.
The lab. Yeah. The lab is our nomenclature for the area, because, you know, where new things are created and brewed. We have one of our guys walking around in a lab coat, so he's sort of the mad scientist. But that's a lot of what's down there is new innovations. There's a company called Capius. They've brought a new revolutionary approach to the rear hub and the cassette. Neat. And that connectivity. And that's the kind of stuff that we want, and that's what, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, major companies on the big floor, on the big show, they were small little guys in the corner in a 10x10, and today they're behemoths. So this is where a lot of companies are born, and we love that.
Yeah, I agree. Let's talk a little bit about the last few days.
Yeah.
Outdoor demo. First of all, great weather this year as compared to last year.
I love it when little warm.
Yeah, but it's funny. I love it when people complain about the heat, and I say, well, don't you remember the wind and the rain last year? Come on, give me a break. So, outdoor demo, how was it?
Phenomenal. We had the best 2 days we've ever had. We don't have final, audience statistics yet, but we will shortly. But you just sensed it. You walked through, once again, biggest footprint we've ever had at outdoor demo. So that's a reflection of what was happening out there. But the aisles were packed. The bikes were gone. People were up on the trail. I went up a couple times to the top, and you just saw people on bikes everywhere.
That's great.
We had some really cool things happen. The Ride to Recovery group that came up yesterday they rode out from the Mandalay Bay, and the reception that they got was really special. Great group of people, and they're here on the show floor too.
We'll be talking to them on Good Morning Interbike later in the week, which is great. And for those of you who don't know, Ride to Recovery is a group that helps wounded veterans. As part of their rehabilitation, they use cycling as a way, and it's inspirational. I mean, that word almost doesn't even cover it, does it?
No, it's powerful. It taps into an emotion for everybody if you have any kind of a sense of what these soldiers have done for our country. I mean, we were sitting in the cart kind of escorting them up the hill yesterday, and I have to admit I was welling up as 3 guys got behind a couple of these guys who were challenged with, double, triple amputees, and they were pushing them up the hill, and it's powerful even just to talk about it. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's really, really special.
Guys were great. It was wonderful to meet them. So outdoor demo, and then this morning, first ever Interbike industry breakfast.
Yep.
Room was packed.
Standing room only.
And which is great because it was right after your party, right?
Yeah, that wasn't so great. I'm not sure, but we made a mental note this morning. Party after the breakfast next year.
So let's talk about the breakfast.
Yeah.
We had the opportunity, and John Burke will be on a little bit later. We pre-recorded an interview with him yesterday. I love talking to him. He's talking
Smart
about
guy.
another inspiration.
Yeah.
He spoke today about the future of bicycle advocacy. How was that received?
Standing ovation. What was interesting, David, was looking around the room during his presentation. There was nobody on cell phones texting, or they were glued to what he had to say because his message was so important and so powerful, and what we need to do as an industry to get this thing moving to even a higher level. And the opportunities are gigantic, and that's what he presented this morning. And the best thing everybody came up to me was the comparison to the NRA, and we can talk more about that, and maybe he did a little bit, but we as an organization, as an industry, need to do more and look at organizations like the NRA as examples.
Yeah, and he and I talked about that a little bit. We didn't get in depth about the NRA analogy, but I understand what he's saying, right? He's saying the NRA has been very powerful in moving their agenda forward.
That's right.
And the way that they've energized their base. And all he's saying is he's not necessarily saying we need to be pro-gun.
Right.
But what he's saying is we need to be pro-bike in the way that the pro-gun lobby is and the way that they've been able to move their agenda forward. I think that's really all he's saying.
That's really it. He compares them and their political action committees and just everything they do as an organization, and it's something we can look to as a goal at least.
Yeah. One of the things that he really hammered home with me yesterday was do something.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you do, how big or how small. And I think that that's something that a lot of these other lobbies have figured out. And now we just need to energize. I mean, look at all the people here. They're enthusiasts.
No question.
And so we just need to energize them.
That's right. That's right. So no, it's so far so good. The breakfast was a huge success. Last night's party was a big success, and I anticipate the next 3 days being very energized.
What are you looking forward to over the next 3 days?
Oh God, some
and
rest.
What can right. And that's 4 days. And what can our viewers look forward to over the next 3 days?
Well, I think you're going to just find there's a lot of activity on the show floor. We've created areas throughout the floor, neighborhoods where there's activities happening. There's the OIWC Women's Lounge. There's the Urban Lounge where they've got a DJ in there and they'll have beer flowing. And we've got the Triathlon Pavilion this year. That's something new. But, downstairs in the lab, we've got the pub, we've got the cafe. There's all kinds of energy and activities happening throughout the floor. The fashion shows, we got 4 fashion shows. I just walked by the room.
Wow.
All the models are getting primped and prepped. And so the first one's in about 20 minutes.
Good.
Don't miss them. They're going to be great.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I don't want to get ahead of yourself here, but plans for next year? Anything exciting that you're working on that you can talk about?
Well, a little thing we got planned. We're moving. We're moving to Mandalay Bay, the new convention center. Kind of a small thing.
Anaheim again? No. Still Vegas.
Yes, sir. Same dates, but we're moving it over to the Mandalay Bay.
Okay.
We're excited about our new home. They're excited to have us. On Friday, we're going to do a little tour with some of our key exhibitors and get them comfortable with the new facility. But next year, we're looking at having the parking lot that's outside the Mandalay Bay to do some outdoor activities, perhaps a triathlon, perhaps a little criterium race. We got a few things up our sleeve.
That is excellent. But outdoor demo, staying out in Bootleg Canyon?
Yeah, same dates, same place. You can't do any better than what we have out there. It's really ideal.
Agreed. It's
really
great.
No, stay the course there.
That's really nice. Well, Pat, it's always good to see you. It's
You
always
too.
great to be back at Interbike again. I told you last year, my first Interbike, 1989. I was like 5 years old. But Interbike is where it really is. It's the center of our industry.
That's right.
And so it's great to see it thriving the way that it is. It's great to see you, and thanks for joining us on Good Morning Interbike.
Good to see you, my friend.
Appreciate it very
Thanks,
much.
man.
We will be back in a moment with more from Good Morning Interbike.